Good morning, folks. I am here live at the New South Wales Student Job Show, and everyone is still setting up. I see some Tic Tacs behind me and a bunch of other stuff. I will update you. Stay tuned. So let's get started. First of all, the free stuff. I love the free stuff. Tic Tacs made me so happy, and yeah, pretty awesome. So what happened during the day today? Well, first of all, the first talk that I went to was with new working graduates working in allocation and private practice. And in allocation, they're saying that GPA is very important. 3.29 out of 4, I believe, was last year, and it changes. And the hospitals have slightly different structures, so you want to know what hospital you're going to and what they offer there. For private practice, it's more about networking and communication, which is very important because that's how you get your name out there. That's why you're more recognizable, and that is very important. So you want to show your enthusiasm and get your name out there. The second talk that I went to was an open forum working in private practice, and the four companies that were there was BJC Health. He is Errol Lim was a person who I actually got to talk to, and you'll get to see that soon. And Revisby Physiotherapy, Rehab Health and Fitness, and Allied Health Group. And I have to say, this talk was my favorite. It was very engaging, very lots to learn from here. And what was the first thing we learned? Well, it's funny, we talked about this in the Darwin conference as well. They're talking about customer service, sales, empathy. This is a feature that consistently new graduates don't have. But you know what? Sales is something that they can teach us. What is really hard for them to teach us, they're saying, is empathy. And for empathy, that is something we need to develop on our own. And so it's basically how we can maximize the adherence of the clients to be able to come, the patients to come, so they can play with their grandkids, so they can garden and go on a 6-week trip to Europe, kind of like what we did in Euro this week. It's very, very important. And it's interesting, we talked about this in Darwin as well. All right, well, what else is important? Having a good mentor is very important, especially for new graduates. And they could not stress that enough. Having a good mentor is very important. And something similar to Darwin was a question of what are your goals? Is it longevity to be a therapist for a long time, or is it to be the best physiotherapist, to run a successful business, to go to work in the hospital? And your goals might change, but you have to have a goal in the first place, and then it can change as time goes on. But let's have a listen to what Errol has to say about this. Hello, so I'm here with Errol Lim, who is a director of BJC Health, and he's been a physiotherapist for 19 years. He's one of the owners of the company, and one of the questions that I asked him is, what do we want to do? Do we want to go to hospital? Do we want to go to private health? Errol will try to help answer that question. Here you go,
Yeah,
Errol.
thanks, Basant. Not an easy question to answer in terms of whether to go to hospital or go to private practice, because it always ends up with, it all depends on what you really want to do. And often that, I know, can be a very, very difficult question to answer. But I think if you're caught in crossroads, that makes it at that same time very, very difficult to then choose whether you should go one way or another. I think if you're unsure, the best thing to probably do is just choose one way. Whether you decide to go to hospital or private practice, there's no right or wrong. Once you've made that choice, though, give it a good shot. Do the best you can be, or be the best physio you can be, and then you'll know after a period of time whether this is the right place for you or not. But the best advice I can give is, whatever you choose, do it well, finish it off well, and then you'll be able to make a better decision after that. Good luck to you all.
Thank you very much, Errol. We really appreciate your time. So what I got out of that was to just pick something, take action, and just do it. Even if you make mistakes, you will learn from those mistakes. It's an opportunity, a learning opportunity. And it was interesting, I asked a question similar to the forum, to the people there, about some of the biggest mistakes that they made, and they were able to turn it around and say they weren't necessarily just like, oh, we failed or anything, but it was more of thinking of it as a learning opportunity. They don't think of mistakes as failures, they think of them as something that they can grow from and become better from the mistakes that they've made. So that was very interesting. Alright, so the last talk that I went to was about improving your resume and interview skills, and it was from the one guy was the head of the St. Vincent's Hospital, and the other lady was Health Networks Australia, and they were talking about a lot of things. I think I'll post some of the slides that were from there, but simply put, your cover letter, you should have a cover letter, and it needs to be relevant and concise to the company you're applying to, and don't send them to the wrong companies, because that happens too. And secondly, for the resume, they don't expect you to have, as a new graduate, they don't expect you to have extensive experience, but what they will look for is your hobbies. They will look for your extracurricular activities, the things you do outside of school. They will look for continuing education. They will look if you're job shadowing, for example. Continuing education, that means they're looking for APA lectures. Are you going to APA lectures? For job shadowing, are you engaging with the physiotherapy community? These are the qualities that they're going to be looking for, and this is exactly what I want you guys to do. And for example, coming to the job show is a very valuable experience, but you don't have to believe me. Have a listen to some of your own peers and what they have to say of what they learned from the job show today.
Today I learned that professional development is it's very important. Continuing education when you graduate, just to take care of your patients better.
Alright, today I learned that when you first get into the career, don't be afraid to ask your mentors or your supervisors if you're doubtful about anything.
Today I have learned a lot from the lecture and talking with the professional, and then theoretically I knew that there are many departments, but like aged care, musculoskeletal, and neuromuscular like that. But today I can learn more about the more specifically, and then the part of that they are going to do for the patient, and how to getting a rapport with the patient and how to deal with that.
Yeah, so something I learned today was the skills and the experiences in allocation can be very helpful in your future years, and even if you don't get in through that selection process, there's always ways around to get into the hospital system if that's what you really want to do, so that's reassuring.
Yeah, I learned that experience in the public health system is very important regardless of whether you're planning on working in private practice long term or that's what you want to do for the long term. You learn many skills that you can carry over into everywhere.
Thank you for pitching in. Till next time.